Okay, three punch combo. Let's get into, some more stats. Let's focus on, so when we talk about Clarissa Shields, let's talk about Little Caesars Arena too, because let's talk about how she made history with that. 18,000 at Little Caesars Arena, one of the largest crowds in women's boxing history. Uh, so it shows star power and ticket selling ability. Also, it's a milestone. That's a big milestone for women headlining major arenas. And also, too, let's talk because listen, we got to be honest today. It's not about, because a lot of people like to compare and contrast. So let's also focus in, because we know it gets real spicy between Clarissa Shields versus Alicia Baumgardner, Alicia fans versus Clarissa Shield fans. Once again, I've been a supporter of both, but let's be clear. Let's state facts. This is going to be Alicia's first. This is going to be Alicia's first headline. Okay, so she's going to be headlining in New York at Madison Square Garden. She's going to be on the platform for MVP Promotions, and I looked up the numbers, so it looks like with the capacity for that crowd or numbers, it's gonna be about what 5,500 to, I think it said to about 5,500 to 5,700, I believe.
At the MSG?
At the MSG, because it's gonna be part of.
Oh, okay.
So Baumgardner, it says the MSG Theater main event. So it's not going to be the whole.
Gotcha. Okay.
I believe so. It's not going to be the whole
It
arena.
can't be the whole arena.
Yeah, it's not going to be the whole arena. So it's going to be more of a intimate setting.
Okay.
So I like kind of how they broke it down too. I like, even with using AI with this particular thing, it says, like Shield show arena selling power, and it talks about how Baumgardner is showing big market headline credibility. So it still like gave, a balance. But the reason why I even bring that up is still letting you know too that what Clarissa Shields is doing is still levels to it. What she's doing on just with her own through that promotions, she doesn't really treat, like, it's not as a bigger machine. What the other ladies with MVP and who they have with Jake Paul, with that whole, that's, so it's letting you know too how it's also letting you know too significance of how big of a factor Clarissa Shields is and what she has done, and how she's set the stage for other women, regardless of what other people try to say. She hasn't done this or that, but it's letting you know too, just still the numbers speak for itself. So you could say A, B, and C, but it shows through the numbers, through factual information. And I'm not just going through Chat GPT, also through news articles like the Detroit News. So I'm getting this from multiple sources. So I'm just trying to break down and tell you, so we can have a clear understanding of where this is coming from.
She's a two-time Olympian. She fought on a world stage. That right there speak volumes. And again, I don't think she got her credit for being a two-time Olympian. And when first that was back when the woman was first able to box. She was only 17. I think she just turned 18. She was young. She was on a world platform. So of course the numbers going to be there because she's continued to grow, she's continued to elevate. And that you can't take that away. You can only add. Like everybody have not been on that platform. So she's known across the world because of that. She was one of the youngest. I'm sorry, she was the youngest during that time to be on that platform. So she was under a lot of pressure, very, very, very young, and she continued to grow in the sport. And of course, she's a trailblazer. So she's still moving. She's 30 and she's keeping it moving. So I think people leaving out that little, really big point that she's a two-time Olympian champion. So yes, that she's going to be set apart from the rest of them.
Absolutely. So and that's why we just want to, it's not about putting them against each other, but it's still, we want to bring in fair and balanced reporting too. And we want to really, actually give you the numbers that's actually been cited properly, because a lot of the fans and, like I said, media, they want to say A, B, and C about certain fighters, or who done this and who did this. And sometimes it gets very disrespectful, and they want to disregard certain things when it comes to certain fighters. So I just want to, make it be clear when we talk about the numbers what each person is doing, and not taking anything, because also I want to highlight Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. They did major things with Netflix as far as them being a main
Of
event.
course,
But
yeah.
I just wanted to highlight that because like I said too, we because they put certain women against each other, and then the fans go back and forth. So that's why I wanted to, address that.
But every
Uh,
boxer in their own right doing their own thing, and I
mhm.
and I think that's what the main point is. Every boxer, male or female, you know, in their own right, they're doing their own thing. So of course, two paths are not the same. So I mean, to go against that person, no, everybody doing their own thing, their own right, and timing, everybody time about the same time. So I mean, well, when you get that time, you perform, and you elevate. But no, it is what it is. I don't think. Um, I mean, the media gonna be what it is. This is nothing new. This is nothing new to pin people against each other, and they're going back and forth again. No different than the Clarissa and Layla. I mean, to me, yeah, I'm not into that. Definitely not. Yeah,
Absolutely, but it makes for great conversation.
yeah,
So
no, for
let's
sure.
let's let's transition too, because it's a lot of also talk. We kind of addressed the face of women's boxing. We talked about accomplishments, achievements, who's doing what in some ways. Who do you feel like is the most skilled women's boxer? Do you got a top five, or can you give a top two? Or is your top two Clarissa and Amanda?
Well, you
Since you
should have asked me that beforehand because I'm not a journalist. I'm a in time type of person. No, my life is home first. Let me just say that. Then my 9 to 5 where I get paid. Because this is volunteer for me. This is all volunteer. And then no, I did not research that. So to your point, who's most skilled? I'm gonna have to say again, the quote, Amanda Serrano. I don't have a top five. No, I don't have a top five, seriously. So you can throw
okay.
up your top five. I mean, but
Okay,
no.
so listen, three punch combo. We'll come back to. I'm gonna give you a little bit about the most skill, but we'll come back to that. We don't have time because Caroline is
Okay.
about to fight. Okay, she's about to fight. I believe in the next week or so. Then Alicia fights. I believe April 17th. So I'm not gonna give you from my slate eye test. I'm not gonna give you my top five, but I am gonna give you. We're gonna go back again to the chat and see what Chat GPT. Okay, let's see, because they said the most skilled. I'm
Okay,
just
yeah. Hold
giving you.
on.
Hold on, let me
No,
finish.
no, you've been talking for the last 30 minutes.
I
Three
ain't
plus combo,
been
I gotta say one thing. I don't agree with Chat GPT, okay? I don't. I
talking.
just know in my age, and I'm just a regular old, whatever you think. But she gonna go with Chat GPT, but
It's
I
not that
don't agree with Chat GPT. I don't agree
we
with
in.
the chat.
I don't. What did I say? Three punch combo. You see what Katia just did there? What did I just tell you? I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to give you my top Micah K's top
Mm-hmm.
five later on. So that doesn't mean I agree with Chat GPT. That's just good dialogue to see what AI is saying. And also let's be clear. I just don't use Chat GPT. I also use other articles and sources because I'm a
Mm-hmm.
journalist. So I will never just rely on Chat GPT. But since we having this dialogue, and just to see,
Mm-hmm.
because we're in this day and age and we're in this world, and we know that Gen Zers sometimes don't even, all they do
Yeah.
is rely on certain things like AI. So let's go to Chat
Still
GPT
said
and
no.
let's see what it says. So number one, they got Clarissa Shields. Number two,
Mm-hmm.
they got Katie Taylor. Number three, they have Michaela Mayer. Number four is Amanda Serrano. And number five is Alicia Baumgartner. Okay, so let's also be clear again. I don't agree with that list, but my number one
Okay.
is Clarissa Shields as most skilled.
Okay.
My number two is Katie Taylor. Now, off the top of the head, when I first saw that and I looked that up through Chat GPT, I was thinking about Lauren Price. I was thinking about Caroline. I did have Michaela. I had Alicia. I had Amanda Serrano, and I had Gabrielle Fundura. So that's what I'm saying. It's gonna
Mm.
take time.
Mm.
I gotta really look. I gotta
Mm.
give you that good slate eye test, because I know my stuff when I'm really locked in. So once I really do all my highlights, then we gonna come back three punch combo and I'm gonna give you my top five. But my top two, I do agree with Chad. It's Clarissa Shields because of her offense, her
Okay.
defense, her IQ, her pure. She's just very technically sound
Mm.
and gifted. And then with Katie Taylor, she's just quick. the pressure, the high activity in the counters, absolutely. So that one and
So
two, but then it get dicey between three and five.
okay, so let me do my due diligence and do my
Right.
homework, and then I can
We both come back.
come back and give you mine because I don't agree with that list.
I don't either.
Yeah, I
But the
don't.
top two I agree with.
I don't think I agree with the top two either. I don't think Katie is my top two, but
Okay.
I will have to do my due diligence though and really lock in and go ahead and do a little research and say who's two, three, four, and five. But I agree with the number one though. I definitely agree with the number one. So we're gonna have to revisit this, and I have to give you my true, you know, who I think is the top five.
Okay, so you heard our thoughts. We gave you something. Make sure we highlighted the women's boxers. Definitely is Women's History Month. Definitely want to show love to the women because we are women and we doing this sport with highlighting and talking about what we love and to uplift women and positivity. So you already know what it is. It's Continue to Box and Truth. We got Lo behind the cam. What up though, Lo? Lo, you gonna say something? You know it's Women's History Month. What up though, Lo?
Congratulations to all the women.
Yes, absolutely, definitely, because they're doing great things. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button, and definitely, if you watching and once again you like what you see, you need to make sure you subscribe. You know, I gotta keep telling you all that because I gotta put it in your your brain. But you already know what time it is. It's the Queen Micah K.